What's up, guys? Welcome to IMV Sports. College game day week 4 is about to kick off real soon here. So I just want to talk about some games that are coming up that are the most important and exciting games of the day. There's 10 games I'm going to talk about a little bit, so let's kick it off right away. You got number 2 Georgia taking on undefeated Missouri. Missouri is not ranked, but they are 3-0, and they are going to be home against a tough Georgia team that is a great team in every aspect of the game. They got a hell of a defense. Their running game is strong, and obviously they got Jake Fromm, who's a great quarterback. So Georgia, they got to take care of business. This is a tough challenge for them. Missouri hasn't really been in the spotlight in college football the past couple years, but they're 3-0 right now, and they can't take them lightly. Usually, like I said, the past couple years, Missouri hasn't been too great. Teams have been rolling in there, ranked teams, and just kind of beating up on them. So Georgia's got to get in there, take care of business. I think they will. I'm going to give Georgia the win here today by a score 38-21. I think Missouri hangs with them, but Georgia just will end up being too much for Missouri to handle. So I'm going to give that game to Georgia 38-21. Second game, we got number 8 Notre Dame taking on 2-1 Wake Forest in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, at Wake Forest's home turf. So Notre Dame, I can't believe they're ranked 8. I think it's ridiculous that they're ranked number 8. And my reason for that is because they're 3-0, but have you seen their games? I mean, they're barely beating these teams that they should be really beating up on. I mean, they barely beat Ball State. I mean, I don't know, I could be wrong. A lot of times these teams play these lowly teams and barely beat them by less than 2 touchdowns or so, and then they play a tough opponent and they end up killing them, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I was wrong. Now, Wake Forest ain't no tough opponent, but Wake Forest is a gritty team, and I actually saw a couple guys on ESPN and all that other stuff taking Wake Forest in this game. I'm not going to take Wake Forest. I think it's going to be another game where Notre Dame is going to struggle. They're not going to look that good. They're going to win by less than 2 touchdowns. By 2 touchdowns or less than 2 touchdowns, I think they'll win. But Notre Dame will win the game just because their defense is too strong, and I don't think Wake Forest will ever get themselves in a position where they can grasp like a lead late in the game on Notre Dame. And even if they do, I just think that offense, Notre Dame, is too strong for the defense of Wake Forest. So I'm going to take Notre Dame in this game, guys. It's going to be a low-scoring game, I think. I'm going to go 27-15 in favor of Notre Dame. So that's my prediction for that game. Another game today, you got Nebraska at number 19 Michigan. Now this game is super exciting and important for me because obviously you have Scott Frost has Nebraska 0-2 right now. 0-2, and the first game, okay, it was a tough game. And then they lose to Troy last week. Like, oh my God, how do you lose to Troy? The Troy Trojans beat them, and Scott Frost is in a nightmare scenario right now with Nebraska, with the Cornhuskers. So they take on number 19 Michigan at Michigan, and Nebraska's got to come out guns blazing and try to win this game. Because if they lose and go 0-3 to start Scott Frost's tenure, I know a lot of times when a new coach comes in there, they say, don't expect them to go 10-2. And it's not like the last couple years Nebraska has been like 11-1, 10-2, going to the Big Ten championship, getting these big bowl games. I know that's not happening. But Nebraska is a big market school for football. They're known for their football team. So to see them struggle like they have the past couple years here and there, it does not sit well with the fans in that college. So if Scott Frost starts 0-3, man, they are not going to be happy. So that's a huge game. And also it's huge for Michigan because they got 1 loss already. And right now in college football, with only 4 teams making the playoffs, 2 losses, you're done. 2 losses, there's no chance of making the playoffs with 2 losses. Unless, obviously, there's scenarios where, a bunch of other teams lose and all this happens. Okay, yeah. But essentially, for the most part, you get 2 losses. You can, for the most part, just kiss those playoff hopes goodbye. So that's a big game there, too. You got number 22 Texas A&M going into Bama's territory, taking on Alabama. And People are hyping up because Texas A&M is number 22, but Alabama's Alabama, and I think Alabama's going to beat them. I think they're going to beat them by at least 3 touchdowns. They're so good. No one can beat Alabama. I have yet to see a reason to believe that Alabama can lose a game or get beaten by a team. I just can't see it so far. I've not seen a reason. Nothing has given me a reason yet to believe Alabama's going to struggle with a team or barely beat a team or even lose. I mean, they're going to win. I think Texas A&M keep it close in the first half, but Alabama will score a lot with that offense. I think Alabama wins this game 45-24. They'll beat Texas A&M. So moving on, we got number 12 West Virginia taking on Kansas State. Excuse me. Will Grier, quarterback for West Virginia, is a Heisman favorite. Well, he's a Heisman finalist candidate. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation right now. Him and Kyler Murray for Oklahoma. There's a couple other guys, but Will Grier is a great quarterback, and they're taking on K-State at home. K-State's 2-1. Obviously, K-State's always a tough team. They're not a team that you're just gonna beat no problem. Oh, we're number 12 West Virginia, Kansas State, nothing. No. Bill Snyder's got that team ready to go and juiced always. So that's going to be a tough game for West Virginia. And I think it'll be the first real test for Will Grier. Obviously, they were going to play NC State last week, and I thought that would be a decent test for him, but because of the hurricane, got canceled. So they had an extra week so they've been off for 2 weeks now. So let's see if that ends up being good or bad for West Virginia. So they take on K-State. I think West Virginia wins this game. I think they shake off the rust. I think in the first half they'll be a little rusty after not playing last week. But by the second half, they'll shake that off. And I think they're going to win this game 38-20 against K-State. So then we got number 17 TCU taking on Texas. And the Longhorns are coming off of a huge win against USC. They beat the crap out of USC last week, 37-14, and TCU lost a heartbreaker to Ohio State. They looked like they had that game in their hands for a little bit, but Ohio State turned up and they beat TCU. So this is a big game. Both teams 2-1. As I said earlier, those playoff hopes just fade away if you get a second loss. So big game for both of these teams. But I think they're at Texas, obviously as in like the Longhorns, Texas Longhorns field. But I think TCU bounces back. They lose. I think Texas, the way they've been the past couple years, they get a big win, and then the next week they disappoint. And I think they'll do that this week. I think TCU bounces back with a win. And I think this will be a high-scoring game also. I think TCU wins this game 48-35. So that's what I have for that game. Next, you got number 17, Stanford, taking on number 20, Oregon. Both teams 3-0. A huge game in the Pac-12 North. Like I said in my last video, there's 4 teams in that Pac-12 North that legitimately could win that division to go to the Pac-12 championship. So this is a huge game. It's at Oregon, but I just think Stanford's a much better team than Oregon. I know on paper it might not look like it, but I think Stanford's just a much better team, and I think Stanford wins this game today, guys. I think they beat Oregon by a score of 36-30. Stanford's just a good team, and I don't think they can get beaten right now by Oregon. I think Oregon's a good team, don't get me wrong. Nothing against them, but I just think Stanford's much better, and it's just going to be too much for Oregon. The one thing that will help Oregon is being home. That crowd's going to be juiced and pumped and ready, because Oregon, remember, they have not been as good as once the Chip Kelly era ended. They've not been, obviously they were always ranked top 10, and now it's like they're ranked 20, and that's a huge thing for them. So, but I think Stanford wins that game. You got number 18 Wisconsin at Iowa. Wisconsin coming off of an upset loss to BYU. Iowa is 3-0. It's in Iowa, guys. And this is such a tough game to predict because Wisconsin's such a good team. You don't feel like they'll lose 2 in a row. But Iowa, anytime you go to Iowa, you see it. Iowa will be unranked. They'll be like a 4-2 team. But every time a ranked team comes in there, they just get so pumped and ready to go. And they always give them a fight. And man, it's so tough to decide. But I think Wisconsin bounces back with a win. I think Wisconsin's got a good offense. But it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think Wisconsin wins like 17-10. Really, I mean, I could be way off. Obviously, the prediction's my prediction, but I think it's a low-scoring game. I think Wisconsin, regardless of the score, I think Wisconsin bounces back with a win at Iowa. You got 2-1 Arizona State heading into number 10 Washington's territory. Arizona State coming off getting upset. Last week they were ranked 23. They got upset by San Diego State. You got number 10 Washington. Have won 2 in a row since that first week loss to Auburn. And this is a really tough game for Herm Edwards and his Sun Devil squad going into Washington. But I think Washington, last year, Arizona State upset Washington when they were number 5 last year. And that game was at Sun Devil Stadium. But this year, I just think Washington's too good. I think Arizona State still got a great team. I think Manny Wilkins will have another great game. I think N'Keal Harry will have another great game. There's a lot of people are saying N'Keal Harry is the best wide receiver in college, and I agree with that. I think there's no wide receiver in the nation better than N'Keal Harry for Arizona State. But I just think the defense for Arizona State won't be able to hold on, and I think Washington wins this game by a score of 33-24. So the last game, guys, Texas Tech taking on number 15 Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's 3-0. They get a huge win last week against ranked Boise State. And Texas Tech is a decent team. They're another one of those teams. Always gritty, always hungry, always want to play underdog, always want to get that upset win. So that's a tough game for Oklahoma State. But Oklahoma State's a good team. Mike Gundy's always got that team ready to go. And I just don't see them losing. Being a ranked team at home against an unranked team, I don't see them losing. I think they win in a high-scoring game. I think they win 52-40 against Texas Tech, guys. All right, so that's all my thoughts, my predictions of the games today. Watch all the games today, guys. Let me know in the comment section if I missed any games that you're watching today. Let me know about some of the games I talked about, what you think about them. And don't forget to like and comment and subscribe to the channel, guys, and enjoy all the games today. We'll be back later to talk about the finals in those games. All right, have a good one, guys.